Welcome back to the news at 10. Nigeria and other countries in sub-Saharan Africa seem to have made some progress in human development, going by the 2014 report by the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP. The report, titled Sustaining Human Progress, Reducing Vulnerability and Building Resilience, addresses issues surrounding human vulnerability and highlights policies needed to maximize future opportunities. But to prevent an elimination of the development so far recorded, Nigeria must intensify the battle against deprivation and add greater value to its products. This is the focus of our next report.
According to this year's Human Development Index, Sub-Saharan Africa has made much progress in health, education, and income between 2010 and 2013. In spite of this, however, the region is still the most unequal in the world, according to the UNDP's Human Inequality Index. An equivalent of 72% of 585 million people are vulnerable. They are either living in poverty with overlapping deprivations in education and health, or at great risk of falling back into poverty. According to the UNDP's representative to Nigeria, lack of preparedness to disaster prevention and early warning is costing Africa, including Nigeria, useful capital resources for human development.
We all know how lack of preparedness to disaster through preventive measures and early warning system has set back many countries to lose their development gains. For instance, rough estimates suggest that for every dollar spent in disaster preparedness and mitigation, $7 could have been saved.
This year's report puts Nigeria Human Development Index value for 2013 at 0.5, which is in the low human development category, positioning the country at 152 out of 187 countries and territories in the region. In spite of this position, the government insists it has done well in achieving Millennium Development Goals 1, 2, 3, and 4, which address poverty eradication, universal basic education, gender equality, and reduction in child mortality.
It's been generally acknowledged that a lot of successes have been recorded on virtually all the MDGs. Particularly, Goal 1 has been, achieved. That is reducing abject poverty in Nigeria, and the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization actually gave Nigeria an award for the poverty reduction through agriculture.
Ahead of 2015, when international funding for the Millennium Development Goals will stop, this year's report is expected to set a post-2015 developmental agenda for Nigeria. Experts say African nations, including Nigeria, must think greatly about policies that encourage production, as well as eliminate barriers to competitiveness in the international market.
One of the reasons why we have not been able to export our products at all is because they do not meet with international standards. We do not have laboratories that are accredited. We do not have an accreditation body which is accepted internationally. As a result of that, we have lost significant amount of revenues, jobs. We have not been able to take advantage of most of our trade agreements with other countries.
In the face of challenges, including insecurity, lack of electricity, and other disasters that has affected the country in recent times, Nigeria needs policies and political will that will improve on the little successes contained in this year's report.
16 billion naira has been approved by Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha for payment of 10-year gratuity arrears and medical allowance to civil servants in the state. This approval was announced by the governor at the quarterly interactive session with pensioners in the state today.
Gathered in this hall are civil servants, pensioners, and government officials, including the state chief executive, Governor Rochas Okorocha. This is not another political gathering, but an assembly of the elderly who have served the state in different capacities in the past. It seems a great day for the pensioners as the state government gives approval for the payment of the 10-year backlog of their gratuity. The situation appears rowdy as some pensioners complain bitterly to the governor about their frustration being paid for a long period. But the governor takes time to explain the reason for the delay in the payment system.
Now I'm going to set up a committee to look into this matter. I'm suspicious of the whole situation. But so from now, I will sign that. Every month from now, you will receive 2 months.
Governor Okorocha also approves medical allowances for all civil servants in the state.
Medical allowance. Every year, every civil servant, whether big or small, no big sickness or small sickness, that's 6,000 naira for all of you every year.
Some of the pensioners commend the governor for this gesture.
Very, very happy, and I thank God and the governor for what they have done to me and others.
I have to be grateful to God and also to the governor.
With this development, civil servants in the state may have been inspired to become more committed to their duties.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Business News. I am Adeshewa Josh. The Commissioner for Insurance, Mr. Fola Daniel, has appealed to Nigerians to insist on getting their employer to enroll them for the Group Life Assurance Scheme. During a meeting with officials of the Nigerian Labour Congress in Enugu, southeast Nigeria, Mr. Daniel emphasized that the policy will assist dependents of deceased workers gain access to financial support after the death of their loved ones. He also encouraged private and public organizations to key into the policy or risk being sanctioned.
The primary purpose of the relevant sections referred to is to ensure that employee dependents have support in the event of untimely death, in the course of employment, and comfort after retirement. The Pension Reform Act 2014 is an update of the Pension Reform Act of 2004. While this Act of Parliament provides for security of employees, it will remain a mirage or paper tiger unless conscious efforts are made to enlighten workers of their rights by their respective labor unions to ensure that the workers are not shortchanged as a result of failure or neglect of employers to comply with the provision of the Act. And as the FEDCOM representative just mentioned to us, I'm sure they will expatiate on it. The benefits are well defined. So it will not suffice for an employer to just make a provision on the basis of basic salary or one other benefit, but all the totality of benefits must be embedded in this program.
Demand for Nigeria's bonds is expected to rally across board next week because of the planned inclusion of Nigeria's 2024 bond in JP Morgan's Government Bond Index. JP Morgan says it will include Nigeria's 2024 bond in its Government Bond Index emerging markets on August the 29th, in addition to 3 other bonds already listed. Traders say demand for the 2024 paper and other maturities have risen since Thursday when the news filtered into the market. Dealers say they expect to see further increase in demand for local debt and that yields will inch lower in the coming week. In the meantime, interbank lending rates is to an average of 10.5% on Friday, compared with 12% last week. Traders attribute this to an increase in cash inflows from budgetary allocations and retirement of matured open market operations bills. The open buyback is to 10.5% from 11.75% last week. Overnight placement also fell to 10.5% from 12.25% also last week. Dealers expect rates to remain flat next week, going by the level of liquidity in the market, unless the central bank embarks on an aggressive mopping up exercise.
And now stockbrokers at the Nigerian equities market are reacting to a new set of operating guidelines released by the management of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. They have described the requirements as demanding and are asking that the guidelines be implemented in phases. Our correspondent Temple Lashaju reports.
Guidelines focus on 5 broad areas which the NSE wants stockbrokers to improve on. They include manpower and equipment, organizational structure and governance, effective processes, global competitiveness, and technology. For the stockbrokers, the new requirements are not easy to come by.
SEC is saying you need this much of money to operate. Stock exchange is saying when you get that money, put it here. What they are saying essentially is that every stockbroking firm should have so and so number of staff, so and so quality of staff, so and so machineries as per computers and systems, so and so look of ambience of the office. In their language, they said it's world class that they want us to operate with.
Most of us might not be able to meet those standards because what they have in their documents is so large. Probably what we are actually asking for is why not take them stage by stage.
Information made available on the minimum operating standards on the website of the Nigerian Stock Exchange describes stockbrokers as high-risk operators who are meant to deal in fairness and integrity in the Nigerian stock market on behalf of their clients. The information also states that these minimum operating standards are meant to help achieve confidence in the Nigerian capital market as well as protect investors' interest in the markets. Now, with a deadline of December 31, 2014, more events are unfolding and Channels TV will continue to give you updates on this. From the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Temple Ashaju, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, investors exchanged a turnover of 1 billion shares worth 12.2 billion naira in 22,056 deals on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange this week. The NSE All-Share Index appreciated by 0.44% to close at 41,564.19. The market capitalization also appreciated by 0.44% to close on Friday at 13.7 trillion naira. Similarly, all the indices appreciated during the week with the exception of NSE Banking Index, NSE Consumer Index, NSE Lotus 2 and the NSE ASEM Index closed flat. 34 equities appreciated in prices during the week, led by Nigerian Breweries, Cornerstone Insurance and Fitzin Healthcare. On the flip side, 42 equities depreciated in prices. The laggards were led by Flour Mills Nigeria PLC, Evans Medical and Fortis Microfinance Bank PLC in that order. 124 equities remained unchanged. That's business news this hour. The news at 10 continues in a moment.
Next on the news at 10, Arsenal record a comeback draw against Everton in the English Premier League. That's on Sports News. Please stay with us.